Hello guys, welcome to another reaction video. This time we're going to be reacting to Gaibea Emerald Hardcore Nuzlocke with only electric Pokemon by SiplhSpectre. I think that's how you pronounce the last one. So, well guys, this guy does a lot of hardcore Nuzlocke, so...
Welcome everyone, my name's Sylph, and this is my attempt to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Emerald with only electric-type Pokemon. The full rule set for this run is listed down below, but put simply, only the first electric-type encounter in each route or area can be caught. If a Pokemon faints, it must be permanently boxed. No items except held items in battle. Party Pokemon levels are limited to the next gym leader or the final league member's ace. And finally, the battle mode must be put on set at all times.
Yes.
Now, we all know the electric type as being usually quite fast and hard-hitting. However,
so technically a Nuzlocke but cranked up to
Pokemon on the whole are very, very frail. Added to that is the fact that, especially in earlier generations, their type coverage is absolutely atrocious, often only having access to electric or maybe normal type attacking moves. Having said that, let's see what encounters are available to us in Pokemon Emerald. These aren't looking too bad, although there are some very intriguing encounter situations with a few of them, so it's sure to be a wild ride. And on the face of it, it looks like it might just be one of the most challenging runs that we've done.
Yeah, probably.
What isn't challenging is getting some amazing, authentic Japanese snacks with today's video sponsors, Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co.
Okay,
Tokyo Treat is some guy that helps me on Twitter. Well, first of all, what are you even doing with your life? Link down below. I just moved into a new house, and honestly, playing through this is like traumatic, given how crazy it was. Okay, now this is not familiar. Would have been very helpful though, as I pretty much had to do everything myself. Time to go raid a stranger's bedroom. What if I just waited for May here? Just like this.
What? Okay.
In the midst of Professor Birch dying, it's time to pick our starter Pokemon, and of course, none of them are electric type, and we can't get an electric type for quite a long time, so using the Pokemon Universal Randomizer, I inputted what would normally be our second encounter, you'll see why, Magnemite as our starter. With only Tackle and Metal Sound to begin with, I was a bit worried, but thankfully Mr. Magneto learned Thunder Shock at level 6. Magneto ends up having a naive nature, which gives him plus speed and minus special defense. You might think Magnapult isn't as good as Sturdy as an ability, however, keep in mind, in earlier generations, Sturdy only protects you from actual one-hit KO
my
moves
special
like
attack,
Bolt, so it's actually the better option. Because May doesn't have a fire move on her Torchic yet, she can barely do any damage to us, so we humiliate her quite badly on our first battle. After Birch rats her out for having already extensive experience as a trainer, yet losing to our dumb ass, May decides to give up on everything and hands us some Pokemon.
Yeah, in fact, why? Why is that a thing? Like, you're already a new trainer in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Auras, and you beat May, and yet that she's supposed to be an experienced trainer.
Ball's officially starting our run. Now, knowing what's ahead of us, I know we need to get an early start on EVs, so I battle Ralts on Route 102, which is our only way of getting special attack EVs at the moment, and they are a 4% chance to find here, so it's a rough process. After Daddy Norman has us take Wally out to catch a Pokemon, he ends up finding... must get special attack EVs. Along the way up, we pull off some elite gamer strats by avoiding all of the trainers, and we arrive in Rustboro City. Here we can grab the... oh, whoop, sorry ma'am, wrong building. The Cut Gem. This guy told us about how perfectly suited his Pokemon's nicknames are, so I go to talk to his Pikachu, and... some more EV training, and we reach level 11 where we learn Super
Just
Sonic,
replace
and
the
after a
one
bit I
letter.
realized we can also take on Abras on Route 116, which are a bit more common than Ralts, as well as Tailo for speed EVs too. Now, EV training to the max and only having one Pokemon brought our level up quite high, so without any further ado, it's time to skip all of the trainers in the Rustboro gym and challenge the first gym leader, Roxanne, a Rock-type trainer with 2 Ground-type Pokemon.
Yeesh. Why does some of these have repeat rock to them?
Yup, looks disastrous for us, but I have a bit of a plan. She leads with a level 12 Geodude, and I immediately try to hit it with Supersonic, but miss, and then we got hit with Rock Tomb.
Okay,
I
yeah,
kid you not, we missed our 55% accuracy move
So
5 times in a row, during which she hit every single 80% accuracy move she used, and brought us below half before our berry. We then finally hit one to confuse her, and then the tides start to turn, but all we have is Tackle, and she now outspeeds us due to Rock Tomb. Once she healed from confusion, we then missed Supersonic another 5 times in a row as we got brought to 9 HP, and she used defense.
I'm really having like Brock and Pokemon on Rocket Science Edition and PTSD flashbacks.
Like crazy too. After a brutal grind, eventually we're taken down, doing less than half damage to her that entire time. That was one of the most disastrous and cringeworthy gym leader attempts I think we've ever had. And it may look crazy, but there is a possibility of winning here. But before that, you guys know hardcore nuzlocks. An entire wipe of the game is necessary. A long while later, and we reach Rustboro again, this time with a new Magnemite named Magneto II, who ended up having a timid plus speed and minus attack nature, which is fantastic for every gym but this one since we need to use Tackle. This time we actually hit our Supersonic, and although we missed a couple others down the road, we brought her low after our berry activated, but she potioned. Oh boy. The main way to damage her is by having her hit herself in confusion, but she snapped out quite early most times, and although Magneto II tried his best and held on with just 1 HP at the end, that potion did us in as we just couldn't make it through. This is brutal. Another entire reset later, and I knew what I had to do. I trained Magneto III, the Roman numerals wouldn't fit this time, in defense and HP using Silcoons, Cascoons, and Whismers. I think I underestimated Roxanne a bit and thought I could train my Magnemite in special attack and speed beforehand, but golly me, I guess I don't have that luxury.
Yep.
D&D is for everyone, and D&D Beyond makes it super easy to play, and I am about to start a...
With a bashful neutral nature, better EVs, and our Oranberry prepped, I think we've maxed out our odds here. This time we get Supersonic off immediately, and she hurts herself right away, allowing us a free tackle, and we got a crit. Alright, a pretty good start. She hurt herself in confusion again, and we immediately hit her below half already. Let's go. Come on, baby. Our next Supersonic hit as well, and she hurt herself, but then in comes the potion, although we barely took any damage. This was an incredibly long process, but as you can see, our luck was holding out, and we edged her down low again, but her defense curls made it so she just brought us below half and activated our berry before we could then take her down. Unreal. We finally got past her first Pokemon. Only 2 more to go. Now, I know what you're thinking. So, what the hell? This is impossible. You barely took down her first Pokemon after 3 attempts. But here's the thing. I had leveled up intentionally to high level 15 so that we'd level up after beating her first Pokemon. That way we learned Sonic Boom at level 16. Keep in mind, hardcore Nuzlocke rules allow for level up mid-battle so long as you're at or below the level cap when it starts, which does a guaranteed 20 HP damage each hit despite type effectiveness. This is the key to defeating her second Geodude, which we did in 2 attacks after we missed the first, with us only getting hit once. Her final Pokemon is Nosepass, and our first Sonic Boom brings her to below half before her berry activates. Then I decide to go for Thunder Shock since she doesn't resist it, and we got the Paralysis before she used a potion. From there, 2 more Sonic Booms do the job with us above half health. Unbelievable. I'm actually amazed we beat a rock and ground trainer with 3 Pokemon using just a Magnemite, as I was starting to doubt it being possible. With that, we can finally get out of that hellhole city and take Mr. Bronny's boat to a more peaceful town, Dewford. Here we can grab the Silk Scarf, and because normal moves are all physical in this gen, I don't think we'll be using it much, but I do have a plan for it later with another encounter. After encountering Stephen Stone in the Granite Cave, we can fulfill his father's request, netting us the XP share, which is going to be crucial to avoid level caps with so few encounters by putting it on an HM mod. Now at this point, I kind of realized,
Oh, jeez. Matcha, the Karai Chop, low kicks, focus punch, light screen, flick, bulk, run thrust, valve, throw, first.
We're screwed. The next gym is a fighting type one, and we have a steel type Pokemon. However, there might be one saving grace. A lot of people don't know this, but you can actually take the boat to Slateport City before taking on the gym in Dewford. This allows us to go slightly north to a small section of Route 110 that is open to us where we can find a new encounter, but there are a couple possibilities here and we can only get one. As I hoped for, we got the 15% mining encounter, which was vital, as you'll see when we progress through the game. I name him Manhattan, and Manhattan has a mile plus special attack and minus defense nature, which isn't bad. With some training under our belt, it's time for the do for gym. Manhattan does a great job making the trainers possible, being able to paralyze them with Thunder Wave and then chip them down with Quick Attack. The second gym leader is upon us, Brawley. His team is looking scary, but Manhattan learned 65 power Spark for same type attack bonus damage and got some defensive EV training under his belt, so I'm hoping he can pull it off. Brawley leads with a level 16 Machop, and we pretty much cannot allow Magnemite to go on the field, so it's all Manhattan here. Paralyzing this thing would be a bad idea since it has the Guts ability, so I hit him hard with Spark before he hits a Karate Chop, and thankfully no crit, so another attack KOs him. In comes Meditite next, and his only attacking move is Focus Punch, meaning if we attack every turn, he literally cannot hurt us, so that's an easy KO, although Light Screen might have doomed us. His final Pokemon is Makuhita, quite a bulky and powerful threat. I hit him with Thunder Wave to paralyze right off the bat, but he makes it through for Final Throw, which does big damage before our berry helps him in. I then use Growl to lower his attack, and he stays paralyzed. Another Growl and another turn of paralysis allows us to then hit him with Spark to a third, and he stays paralyzed again, but his berry helps. We bring him low again, then Final Throw hits us, but it barely does anything after the Growl, so another attack gets the victory. Manhattan's actually got quite a bit of utility. I'm impressed. Second badge. Quite obviously, our electric types fare incredibly well against Team Aqua members, and after Archie calls them simps for whatever reason, he says we're not dressed the part to be a Team Aqua member. That's right, because I'm Team Grass and Dark. Team Shiftry. Yeah, take that. After Birch yells at us for not marrying his daughter yet, or something, we have a double battle where... Oh, well that's awkward. Dare I say, the atmosphere in here is electric. Up ahead on Route 110, May challenges us to battle as she leads with Pokemon that might not fare too well against us. Wingull. Sorry, buddy. In comes her Lombre next, which isn't weak to electric due to its part grass typing, so it took 2 hits to KO, during which it just hit a Swift, and we learned Encore after leveling up. Her final Pokemon is Combuskin, who I knew would be terrifying for Magnemite, so Manhattan's gonna have to handle this. Spark hits below half and paralyzes, then she hits one double kick to bring us below half before we then outspeed and take her down. We would have outsped without the paralysis anyway, so it didn't really matter, but you can see how terrifying Combuskin is. In no time, we arrive at Mauville City, the location of the next gym, and where we can also pick up the coin case, which is going to be very important for us. Before that, though, we can get out of the city life to breathe in some fresh air in the beautiful Verdanturf town, and in the nearby cave system, we can grab the Black Glasses item to boost Dark moves for later. Now, I was gonna grab the Strength HM here, but thank God I looked up this trainer's team, as he has Geodudes with Magnitude. I knew we could Sonic Boom them for damage, but Magnitude would obliterate Magnemite, so, we literally couldn't beat this trainer if we tried to. We'll go the long way around. Speaking of trainers we have no way to beat, the criminal mastermind Wally is breaking into the gym and challenges us to an ultimate duel of epic proportions. The Mauville gym is upon us, and there is a severe lack of actual type-specific Pokemon in this gym, but Manhattan gets the job done. Before the gym leader, I commit to the excruciatingly long game corner grind, as we need to pick up 2 of the same TM, Thunderbolt, which neither of our Pokemon learned by level up for some reason. With that, it's time for the 3rd gym leader, Watson, a fellow electric-type trainer.
That's a very
battle,
solid
as his team is simply more expansive than ours, but I come up with our best plan and go for it. He leads with a Voltorb, so I send out Magneto because this thing has self-destruct, which we thankfully...
Yeah, I think a lot of people did not buy Emerald because of Watson's theme in Ruby and Sapphire.
Resist. He hits us with Spark before Thunderbolt does over half on him, but then he goes for the self-destruct, which we tank quite handily, but would have ended Manhattan. In comes Electrike next, and it outspeeds and hits a Shockwave to bring us below half before a Berry. Then Thunderbolt does the same to him. Now, I know he could send out Magneton out next, in which case Magnet Pole will trap us, so I preemptively switch into Manhattan to tank an attack and take him down with Thunderbolt. As expected, in comes the big threat, Magneton. How the hell does he have a level 22 Magneton, by the way? That's just not fair. I immediately use Thunder Wave. Yes, you can paralyze electric types in this gen. and he stays paralyzed. He then stays paralyzed for the next
Okay, I
3
guess
turns,
that's
so
good to
Thunderbolt
know.
brings him into the red, and then he
I
hits a
ever
sonic boom
decide
for
to do
20
a
HP
Nuzzle.
damage before Watson heals him.
Do you have magic potions for bigger breasts?
As easy as pie. Or bring him low, and then he uses Thunder Wave, finally activating my initial plan as our Cherry Berry heals us. One last Thunderbolt does the job though. At the outset, I meant to encore him into Thunder Wave anyway, but the paralysis made it a bit more convenient. Manectric then comes out and goes for Howl as we paralyze him. Then,
Well, I
since
guess
we
that
now
has
have
to be
speed
it.
due to paralysis, we can use Encore to lock him into Howl. This was a long process, and because of his Citrus Berry and Watson's potion timing, he eventually got a Thunder Wave off on us. Uh-oh. With his attack supercharged, he then went for Quick Attack through paralysis, but we survived on just 5 HP. But Thunderbolt just barely doesn't finish him. Oh no. Knowing he'd Quick Attack again, possibly through paralysis, I switch into Magneto, who resisted, and then a final Sonic Boom did the job. Man, oh man, that was crazy. But we defeated our arch nemesis. Next, we could do something really cool. With the XP share to help, we take on the Windstray family, which includes 4 consecutive trainers without healing, and for winning we get awarded with the Macho Brace, which doubles EVs we get, which should be fantastic for special attack training. Up ahead on Route 111, this kid gives us the secret power TM, which is going to be absolutely key for us for a particular and very strange reason. Passing through the relatively insignificant yet beautiful Fall Arbor town, we arrive at Meteor Falls, yet another beautiful place that is slightly less insignificant. After Team Aqua and Magma Squabble, we arrive at Mount Mortar, where Team Magma looks to have taken over. During one of the trainer battles, I realized just how terrifying Numel is for us, as again, it has 4 times super effective magnitude against the only Pokemon we have that can do damage against it, Magnemite, but using Growl saved the day in this battle. Up ahead, we also have a battle with a Camerupt upcoming, which would be completely impossible. However, there may be one solution, and it lies back in Slateport City. You see, only once you get the secret power TM we got earlier does something unlock with one of the merchants here, the hidden power TM. Now at this moment, I panicked entirely. When we did the first attempt, I had to reset to ensure I got a Magnemite that would give us hidden power water, but I had forgotten to do so when we did the wipes. But, I kid you not, I checked Manhattan just in case, and he had water. Holy, we might just have a chance. It's time for Magma Leader Maxie, an actual impossible battle otherwise. He leads with Mighty Ina with Intimidate, and I send out Manhattan. Thunderbolt brings him to the red, and then he lands a Sand Attack. Not good. After his Super Potion, which doesn't heal him fully though, another KOs. In comes Zubat next though, which is an easy one-hit KO of course. In comes his ace, Camerupt, and after that Sand Attack, I am incredibly nervous. And we do miss it, but he just went for Ember. Oh man, the next turn saves us as 4 times super effective hidden power water does the job. That was way too nerve-wracking.
Yep.
Oh, our HM Pokemon Do Things also evolved into an Azumarill. Just thought I'd give him the recognition he deserves, as I often forget to do that. After turning down an opportunity to hang out with the Boomers at the hot tub in Lavaridge Town since we're way too busy, it's time to take on the gym. The leader here is Flannery, a Fire-type leader, and unfortunately Magnemite evolves at the level just after the cap. Again, she would be 100% impossible without Hidden Power Water, but with it, I think we might just stand a chance. She leads with a Numel, and I just need to avoid Sunny Days or Magnitudes here, but Hidden Power Water wipes it off the map with ease.
Yeah,
Slugma is then handled by 2 Thunderbolts, as factoring in Stab, it actually does more than Hidden Power when it's not 4 times damage. Then in comes Camerupt, and we have just enough power to take it down with HP Water as well. Her final Pokemon is Torkoal, and Thunderbolt does just over half, but no paralysis, and she goes for Overheat, but we tank it on 27 HP before our berry and can smash her with 1 more attack for the win and our 4th badge. All praise Hidden Power, which doesn't exist in the new games anymore, by the way. Situations like these are exactly where knowledge of the game's intricacies can really come in handy. Knowledge. Oh, so she can have all the fun with the hot tub boomers while I'm at work. I see how it is. Thanks for the go goggles, May. I'll go use those while I cheat on you in the hot tub, just like you did to me. The next gym is upon us quickly as it's back in Petalburg. During battles with the trainers, Magneto was fantastic, resisting the normal type, of course. And we finally get our first usable evolution as he evolves into a Magneton. The 5th gym leader is our very own father, Norman, who threatens that he will not go easy on us just because we're his son.
Daddy, chill.
He leaves with a Spinda, and I send out our newly evolved Magneto, whose Thunderbolt immediately wipes it off the map. Alrighty then.
Okay,
Here
yeah.
comes the big
Norman,
boy
I'm
slacking,
struggling
and
with
honestly it
my
has
root
no
playthrough,
coverage
if you
against
guys
us,
remember.
although Facade still does a decent amount. On the face of it, paralyzing him might seem like a good idea, but that would double Facade's power, so I just tank through him with Thunderbolts since his Truant ability only allows him to attack once every other turn, although he unfortunately got a yawn off just before we took him out. In comes Vigoroth next, and I decide to Thunderwave him since he only has Slash, but he lands one before we then fall asleep. After a couple turns, we wake up and hit a Thunderbolt, which is another one-hit KO. Amazing.
Nice.
His Linune then comes out and
Got
hits
like
a Slash
that
to
one
below
hits
half,
KOs.
then Thunderbolt just barely doesn't KO. Then after his potions, we hit a few more for the KO as he hit us down to 25 HP. Honestly, Magneton completely walls his team. Such an effective daddy counter. Now winning this badge grants us something that will absolutely burst open the floodgates, no pun intended, the Surf HM, which grants us so many great things. First, we can head back to Mauville to help Watson out at New Mauville, where we can grab a Thunderstone, which will be fantastic later. We can also get a new static encounter, again, no pun intended, technically a new type of encounter, Voltor, which we catch and nickname Alan. Alan has a naive nature plus speed and minus special defense, which isn't great as it surely doesn't need any help with speed. Regardless, for helping him out, Watson gives us a Thunderbolt TM, which I teach to Alan, saving us yet another crazy game corner grind for now. Up ahead is the bane of our existence, Steven. My Magnipole Magneton will f*** you up. Here we can grab some long-awaited citrus berries for the first time, and this route, 118, is the location of our next available encounter, an Electrike, which I catch and nickname Diana. Diana ends up having an amazing timid nature, plus speed and minus attack. Let's go. You know what time it is. It's time to create a massive citrus berry farm in these people's backyard. Enter this dude. The guy who thought that you fly by gathering a bunch of flying-type Pokemon together, and his traumatized wife inside with 50 Wingull flying around, although I think she says a different line in Emerald than the originals. In the Weather Institute, Team Aqua admin Shelly calls us disgustingly cute.
Disgusting!
And her battle was quite a piece of cake. This battle is important though, as we get a cast form with the Mystic Water item attached for winning, great for Manhattan's hidden power, and something else that we have coming up later. On our way to the next city, we get some team upgrades as Diana evolves into a beastly Manectric, and also Alan evolves into, round Electrode? How else do you describe this thing? I mean, come on. May challenges us to battle at the end of Route 119, and I'm not feeling too concerned about this one. I decide to try Alan out, and her Pelipper was an easy one-hit KO with Thunderbolt, of course.
Yeah,
then her Combustion was taken down in 2 after it just used Bulk Up. Then her Lombre only got a Fake Out and Swift Off as 2 Thunderbolts did the trick. Alan, you legend. At last we arrive in one of my favorite cities, Fortree, where the next gym is. Before that, we have a special opportunity though. We weren't able to get a Plusle since it's only available as a 2% chance just on the same route that we got mine in, but in this house, a kid named Roman wants to trade his Plusle for a Volbeat, which we'll come back to. This absolute rocket of an old lady in another house also saves us 3,000 Pokédollars by giving us a free hidden power TM. I'll take it. It's time for the Fortree Gym, and as I'm sure you can imagine, the flying types in here are handled quite easily by our team, and I must say, it's not too often you see a Swellow get outsped by anything. That thing has a base 125 speed. After defeating the trainers and realizing the gym leader might not be as easy as I thought, it's time to head back to Route 117 to scavenge forever for a 1% encounter rate Volbeat, which we do eventually find.
Yeah.
Also, I'm saying we're allowed to catch this thing as it's our Flash HM Pokemon, alright? Alright. The trade goes off without a hitch, and we get a Plusle, which is named Pluses by the dude. It ends up having a hasty plus speed and minus defense nature, not bad. Also, he had attached a piece of mail on it, and, okay, I gotta admit, that's kinda cute. The 6th gym leader is Winona, the flying type specialist. Magneton would have been a stellar pick here, however, there's one problem. Her Altaria has Earthquake. I have, no way to account for that, but I come up with our best strategy and go for it. She leads with a Swablu, and I send out Pluses. Thunderbolt is an immediate one-hit KO on it since it doesn't have the Dragon typing yet. What does, though, is her Altaria, which comes in next. I have no choice, so I go for Thunderwave, hoping we can get lucky with Paralysis, but we don't, as she goes for Earthquake right off the bat, and it does just enough to KO Pluses immediately. Oof. Sorry, Roman. I failed you. Here I switch into Manhattan, though, to avenge his sister, and as I had hoped for the first turn, she goes for Dragon Dance, and I can encore her immediately and take her down in a few Thunderbolts.
Oh, that's kind of
From
risky.
here, Manhattan goes on a revenge rampage and eviscerates the rest of her team without taking any damage. Serves her right. Before we move on, we have a bone to pick with Miss Cool Trainer Jennifer over here, the one with the Milotic in the rain of all things, who's destroyed us in the past. Come here, you little Oh, wait, a Sableye? What? Are you kidding me? How sweet revenge would have been with this team. After picking up the Sea Incense in Mount Pyre, it's time for something very exciting, the Safari Zone, where we can find another encounter to add to our team. Ironically enough, it was actually the very first Pokemon I found in the grass, and Safari Zone encounters are risky, but we caught it on the second ball, thankfully. I named the Pikachu Thor, and Thor has a careful nature, plus special defense, and minus special attack. Pretty terrible, but I have an idea how we can work around this. Heading back to Fall Arbor Town, we can trade the meteorite to Professor Cosmo for the returns he gets, and I plan to make Thor a mostly physical attacker, so this is great. In the Magma Hideout, Maxie awakens the god of dirt because he wants there to be more land or something, and he challenges us to battle. Manhattan actually did an amazing job here, taking down Mightyena in a few Thunderbolts, Camrocked with her hidden power strat, and surprisingly enough, his Crobat actually survived a Thunderbolt on a sliver, but his Super Potion wasn't enough to save him. Up ahead, I decide to use our Thunderstone to evolve Thor into a Raichu, a Pokemon I feel I never really get to use, and with both Return and Dig along with Thunderbolt, he has some decent coverage for now. I decide to test him against one of the stronger grunts in the Aqua Hideout, and he performs quite well. We next arrive in Moss Deep City, and unless we want to hear about some old man's dreams to head into space, there's nothing else to do but head to the gym. Thor also does amazingly here, as a lot of the Pokemon like Kadabra have better special defense, so Return demolishes them with the Silk Scarf attached. Now looking ahead to the gym leaders, Tate and Liza, I was devastated to notice that we might be screwed.
Yeah, it took me several tries to get those two down. The only way I won was skill swapping the Soul Rock. So, yeah. Quick, Ancient Power, Psychic, Light Screen, Psychic,
It's a double battle, and they have a Claydol with Earthquake, which hits both Pokemon. This is not good.
Yeah.
But after a ton of theory crafting, an idea came to me, and we're going to go to one of the more forgotten areas in Hoenn, the Shoal Cave. Here, depending on the tide, you can make it to the basement floor, which is full of ice, and I feel like very few people know about this. Here we can get a crucial item, the Never Melt Ice, to boost ice moves. With that, let's take on the Psychic Gym Leaders. Tate and Liza lead with a Xatu and Claydol, so I send out Manhattan and Magneto. My plan is to use Hidden Power Water boosted by the Mystic Water item, and Hidden Power Ice boosted by the Never Melt Ice on Claydol, which my calcs tell me might just KO it after fully EV training their special attack, and it works. Whew. That was the biggest bullet ever dodged. From there, we could use Thunder Wave on Lunatone and Thunderbolt on the Xatu, only getting hit by one Psychic in the meantime. In comes Soul Rock next, and I also paralyze it as I switch Manhattan out for Alan. From here, I could set up Light Screen on our side with Alan, but they set up the Sun, so I had to switch out Magneto as Soul Rock has Flamethrower.
Yeah.
Now that we have a reasonable amount of encounters, I could essentially just switch out when needed and target them with Thunderbolt on the remaining Pokemon until we got Soul Rock down eventually. Then Alan and Thor could double team the Lunatone with the help of Citrus Berries, and eventually we got the win. A very scary battle, but I think we pulled it off effectively. After a double battle with Steven against Maxie and a grunt in which Manhattan saved their butts again, and Maxie started going off about how all he wants is to expand the landmass, forgetting that he drinks water every day, I guess, we can get the Dive jump from Steven, which is actually going to open up our final encounter as we can head to Route 126 to use it, allowing us access to the underwater grass, wherein we can find a very cool Pokemon, Chinchou. We catch it and nickname him Ragnarok, and Ragnarok has a lonely nature, plus attack, and minus defense, which is pretty bad, but this thing should be incredible for tight coverage, both offensively and defensively. Some training later, and Ragnarok evolves into an awesome Lantern, and since I wanted to be trained defensively quite a bit, I went to the Trick House, which finally had the Magnet item unlocked to boost electric moves. In Sutopolis, we can grab the Brick Break TM, which will be great for Thor, finally getting us some further coverage. In the Seafloor Cavern, I got to test out Ragnarok against Team Aqua Leader Archie, and Surf did great against Mighty Ina, although it did confuse us with Swagger. Then Crobat was handled by a singular Thunderbolt.
Yeah, that's kind of
Without
annoying.
confusion, Ragnarok certainly could have handled his Sharpedo too, but I was not risking a new encounter like that, so I sent out Magneto to finish the job. Alright, you know what? Why am I just realizing that Kyogre has a massive advantage in this situation? The battle between these two ancient legends literally takes place in the rain and in a massive pool of water. I call hacks. Hey, excuse me, Mr. Rayquaza. Oh, wrong way. Alright, shut up, I'll do it. You know, I love how the entire story of these games is just the Hoenn equivalent of merely waking up a Snorlax and that solves everything. Damn, this is one powerful collection of trainers, and the strongest gym leader is right there in the gym, too. What a squad. Speaking of which, it's time for the 8th and final gym leader, Juan, the water tech trainer. As might be expected, we've got a huge advantage against him, but there's one problem. He's got a Whiscash, which is part ground type. I theory crafted for a while for this one, but out of curiosity decided to check the power types of Pokemon that I hadn't checked yet, and it turns out Ragnarok's is grass. Amazing. Juan leads with a Love Disc, which was an instant one-hit KO with Thunderbolt, then we could bait out his Whiscash. I go for 4 times super effective hidden power grass on it, and it survives in the red, but then just goes for Amnesia before he then heals it. Interesting.
Okay.
Still dangerous, as he'll take less damage now, but we still managed to do just over half, so 2 hits in a row take him down. Crisis averted. From there, his Celio and Crawdon were both one-hits with Thunderbolt, and in comes his ace, Kingdra. Now, this was insane. I used Confuse Ray on him and kept getting him low, but he kept using Rest repeatedly. It was an insanely long grind, as I'm sure you can see, but eventually Ragnarok emerged victorious. Why does my channel mascot Pokemon have to be so annoying? It's time to set out to our final destination, Evergrande City, such a beautiful place. But before we do, we have to make the treacherous journey through Victory Road, during which we run into Mr. Wally. Thankfully, because the next level cap is the Elite Four, so we can overlevel him quite substantially, and also Magneto's typing is fantastic against his team, being able to sweep through the entire thing himself, despite getting confused at one point. What a beast. With Victory Road behind us, we've arrived at the greatest challenge yet, the Pokemon League. After fulfilling the rest of our EVs, gathering any final needed items in TMs, and theory crafting like a madman, it's time for the Elite Four. The first Elite Four member is Sydney, the Dark-type trainer, and I thought I had a good plan for him. He leads with a Mighty Ina with Intimidate, so I send out Manhattan to take it, then paralyze him with Thunder Wave. I hoped this would give me an opportunity to now send in Thor without getting intimidated or hit, but he hit a Sand attack, which just won't do, so I just basically pivoted between him and Manhattan repeatedly until he stayed paralyzed. Then I went for Black Belt boosted Brick Break, but just barely didn't KO, and he hit us with Double Edge, which caused him to go down to recoil at least. In comes Shiftry, and it also barely survived. Apparently my calcs were off. He then double teamed, then hyper potioned, then we hit him again, but we missed our next one and he hit us with Swagger. Great. We then hit ourselves in confusion hard and he used Torment. I'm forced to switch, so I send in Alan, who has Hidden Power Bug, which is 4 times super effective and handled both it and his Cacturne. His Crawdon was then an easy KO with Thunderbolt, and his final Pokemon, Absol, was taken down in 2 of them, only getting off a Swords Dance in the meantime. A much crazier battle than expected, but we got through. The second Elite Four member is Phoebe, the Ghost-type trainer, and her team was one I couldn't figure out how to handle, as her ace Dusclops has Earthquake. She leads with a different Dusclops though, so I send out Magneto. After she protected, the next Thunderbolt just barely doesn't KO. How does this keep happening? She then uses Confuse Ray, but I had attached a Personberry which heals us, then we got a crit on our next Thunderbolt. Nice. Her ace Dusclops now comes in, and knowing the Earthquake's coming, I switch it to Ragnarok. But she gets a crit. Oh no. That was my way to handle her, as I knew after Citrusberry we could tank another. This is bad. I have to switch now, so I go into Electrode. But she gets another crit Earthquake down to just 17 HP. What the hell? I send out Diana
this
here,
is scary.
and finally she doesn't get a crit, and her berry brings us above half. I hit her with Thunderbolt for over half, and we get the paralysis, but she makes it through for another Earthquake. But no crit this time, for goodness sake, and we survive on just 5 HP. But her berry activates and puts her just out of KO range. I have to switch, so I just hope she gets paralyzed as I send out Manhattan. And she does, so 2 Thunderbolts do the job from there, as Earthquake hit us to a third before our berry. Sheesh. From there, her team was handled quite well by Magneto. has our most powerful Thunderbolt damage output on the team. The third Elite Four member is Glacia, the Ice-type trainer, and weirdly enough, her team is kind of complicated for us too, despite having 3 water types. She leads with Celio, and I send out Thor for the immediate Thunderbolt one-hit KO. Then she sends out Glalie, which has Light Screen, which would pretty much end us. So I use Brick Break to bring her to a quarter, but she just used Icy Wind, so another does the job. Keep in mind, Brick Break destroys Reflect and Light Screen, so we did have a backup plan. In comes Celio next, and from here we're going
it's always
as we
good to
super
have a
effective
backup plan.
damage output, and Magneto resists Ice types, so Celio and Walrein are one-hit KOs with the help of the Magnet. Then her final Glalie couldn't even take us out if she used Explosion due to resistance, so a few Thunderbolts did the job with us being brought to about half due to Hail and Ice Beam. Pretty solid. The last Elite Four member is Drake, the Dragon Specialist, and I have a great plan for him as I got the Ice Beam TM from the abandoned ship, which Ragnarok can learn. He leads with a Shelgon, and after it protects twice, Ice Beam KOs immediately. In comes Flygon next, and it actually outspeeds us and slams us hard to the red with Earthquake before Ice Beam with the Never Melt Ice as an instant 4-time super effective one-hit KO.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters if you
outspeed Altaria, so it suffers the same
got
fate
the Never
before
Melt
Kingdra
Ice.
then comes in. Here, I switch into Alan, and Body Slam does a quarter before I got Light Screen up, and then he used Dragon Dance. Knowing things were getting a bit scary, I hit him with Thunderbolt below half as he Dragon Danced again. Here, I know Body Slam would KO us, so I switch into Magneto to resist it, but she got the paralysis on the one crucial turn. I had set up the Light Screen to help handle Salamence, but now this is bad as he goes for Surf and gets the crit out of nowhere to destroy Magneto. Ouch. Rest in peace, our dear starter. Here I send out Manhattan, and he hit a smoke screen to lower our accuracy before Thunderbolt takes us down. In comes his final Pokemon, Salamence, and I hit it with Thunder Wave to paralyze before he hits a Rock Slide. Now, knowing that's better than getting hit with Dragon Claw, I decide to Encore him, and he stays paralyzed. We then miss Thunderbolt, though, and Rock Slide hits us to the red before our Berry. What is our luck here? I switch into Diana, and gets hit with Rock Slide before getting a Thunderbolt off for over half, and then he gets through paralysis again to hit us low, and his Citrus Berry brings him back above half, so now we can't KO, and his Encore ends. Oh boy. I send in Alan again, who tanks Dragon Claw on 40 HP before I bury, then I use Light Screen, so Dragon Claw only does 35 HP, but we have exactly 35 HP left. This whole battle is designed to end us, isn't it? Here I have to switch into our last choice, Thor, and he stays paralyzed, so Thunderbolt brings him low, but he full restores. This part was crazy and involved him repeatedly full restoring and getting rid of paralysis, and in the end we were brought to 37 HP with him at full health.
Guys, experiencing technical difficulties.
But we finally had a stroke of our own luck as Thor got a crit, then could outspeed and hit him again for the KO and the win. That was insane. Look at our team after that. Just nuts. It's time. The final challenge. The champion, Wallace, the Water-type specialist. Yes, this would appear like it's in the bag from here, but no. He has a Whiscash and a Gyarados with...
Well, tentacle, we call it. Whiscash, Gyarados, Milotic, Rain Dance, Rosman, Double Edge, Blizzard, Toxic, Catch, Surge, Ice Beam, Kickdrum, Leech, Double, Team, Earthquakes, Yesha, Beam, Dragon, Earthquake, Beam, Surf, Ice Beam, Toxic.
Earthquake 2. After a ton of theory crafting, it's time for the final battle. He leaves with a Wailord, and I send out Diana, who immediately KOs it with a superpowered Thunderbolt. Now, I had to send out Diana just in case Gyarados was sent in, as Lantern couldn't have outsped him, and good thing we did, as Gyarados did indeed come out and was one-hit KO'd by 4-time super effective Thunderbolt.
Okay, good.
In comes Whiscash. Now, I know I need more damage on it, so I just go for Bite, and no flinch, so she hits an Earthquake, and it brings us down to just 4 HP. Closer than I expected. I have to switch, so I send out Ragnarok, and he hits us down to a quarter before our Berry. I know we won't quite KO from here, as I underestimated him, so I make a risky play and go into Alan. We survive below half, but since I know we need Lantern for later, I go for the Explosion. But it doesn't KO. Are you kidding me? Regardless, Alan's sacrifice now allows us to send out Ragnarok after he full restores so we can get 2 hidden power grasses off in a row for the KO. Sheesh. In comes Ludicolo next. A huge threat for Ragnarok, so I switch into Manhattan. Now, I can't even describe what happened here. This was a crazy sequence with Thunderbolt, Thunderwave Paralysis, and Encore, and his Leech Seed, Giga Drain, and Double Team. But because of his full restore timing and Double Team, he ended up outdoing us as switching would be too risky, and Manhattan went down. Here I send in Thor, though, who could revenge kill with 2 Thunderbolts since we got a crit on the second. From there, Tentacruel was taken down with 2 Thunderbolts, although it did get a Toxic off on us, unfortunately. In comes his final Pokemon, Milotic, who tanks Thunderbolt with just over half before hitting us hard with Surf, and now we're forced to switch due to Toxic. I send out Ragnarok, and Ice Beam hardly does anything before a final Thunderbolt wins us the battle. Unbelievable. Who'd have thought a Water Trainer would be so tough with an electric team? But we did it. We became the champion of the Hoenn region. However, it's not quite over yet. We completed the hardcore nuzlocke, yes, but there's a secret bonus battle that I know you guys will still want to see. Let's do this.
Okay.
You can get more than just amazing, delicious pizza. There's
A ton of theory crafting and grinding, and with just 3 remaining Pokemon on our team, we travel to the depths of Meteor Falls, where the true most powerful trainer in Hoenn awaits, Stephen Stone. I don't know how much of a shot we have with such a limited team, but let's go for it. He leads with a Skarmory, and I lead with Ragnarok, who immediately KOs it with Thunderbolt. A good start. In comes his Aggron next, as I anticipated, as it has Earthquake, and Surf decimates it instantly. But then, in comes his ace, Metagross, which also has Earthquake. I know I have no choice. I have to do as much as I can with Mystic Water Boosted Surf, but it does barely less than half before he hits his heart to 70 HP. I hit another, and we only bring him to the red, so another attack takes Ragnarok down. However, since he has a berry, I'm hoping that will dissuade him from using a full restore, and it does, so Diana takes him down with a Thunderbolt. However, another huge threat comes in next, Claydol, which I was hoping Surf could handle earlier. According to my calcs, 2 bites with black glasses just barely won't KO, so I have to try and get the range by using Quick Attack first and hope he uses something like Reflect. And he did, but it was Light Screen. Oh no. All dark moves are special in this game, and I have no choice now, so I go for Bite, which does very little now, and Earthquake smashes us to the red. 1 more bite brings him to a third, but he flinches. I don't want to bring him into full restore range though, so I go for 1 more quick attack before he takes down Diana. In comes our final Pokemon, Thor, and I go for Return, and it does enough to take him down. In comes Cradilly next, and now here's the key. We have Brick Break, which does over half, but then he hits a Confuse Ray. Not good. We make it through though and smash him for the KO. In comes his final Pokemon, Armaldo. Fighting isn't super effective on him due to his part bug typing, so I go for Thunderbolt instead, but it does less than half, and he hits an Ancient Power, and it does exactly half. What is with these ranges? But our static ability paralyzes him. Unbelievable. Now I know Thunderbolt likely won't KO, and will likely trigger a full restore, which would also heal paralysis, so I have to risk it and go for Return. We make it through and hit it below half, and I was like, stay paralyzed, please. But he doesn't, and I was like, please get a lower roll. You did exactly half last time, but he doesn't, and Thor gets taken down. Oh man, that was an unreal battle, but you know what? I'm proud of our team. We beat a hardcore nuzlocke of Emerald with only electric types, and we're just 1 attack away from beating the bonus Steven battle. Electric types were incredibly hard to work with early on, but they start to get more power and more coverage as time goes on, which is pretty cool, and this run definitely required a lot of strategy. I hope you had fun with the run, and if you did...
Okay, guys. So you guys like this video? Go down. So that was gonna be a Pokemon Emerald hardcore nuzlocke with only electric types. So if you guys like this video, go down, like, subscribe, ring that bell. Go subscribe to SiplhSpectre, and see you guys in the next video.